till 2 o'clock in the morning. There's this pounding on my door, and I look out. There's these red lights flashing. It's really dramatic, and I kind of wish I would have thought to grab my camera and sort of take a quick shot of it, because it was very visual. What was going on was very visual. It was very there's a lot of audio stuff going on as well. There's a lot of banging and pounding. I open the door, and it's Kathy the liaison officer from the Shorewood Police Department, and Frank Gronowski, Officer Frank Gronowski, and apparently they want to interview me. It's kind of ironic because I myself have always wanted to be interviewed. Maybe not quite like this situation, but yeah, I've always kind of fantasized that maybe at some point someone would interview me and kind of want to know what my thoughts on things were, and how I viewed things, and sort of what do I have to say. Well, the ironic thing is now I am getting interviewed, and it's not quite the experience I had imagined. And about 15 minutes in, I'm thinking, no, let's just call this whole thing off. But apparently, according to Officer Frank Gronowski, if I call the whole thing off, it's going to look like I've got something to hide. If I ask for a lawyer, which they'd be happy to provide me, and which they eventually did provide me with, that again would look like, I felt I had done something wrong, which I clearly didn't feel I had done anything wrong. So I'm perfectly happy to carry on this interview for as long as they'd like. It's about 7:30 now. That's a little longer than I had anticipated this to go on. I thought the matter would be cleared up pretty quickly. Now that I've got my lawyer involved, it's apparently going to drag out conceivably for months, but that's a whole other subject. You know what I think the whole problem is? You saw the clip yourself. I think the thing that really got me perhaps into trouble, if I am in trouble, and it's not, I don't want to give you the impression that it's completely clear that I am in trouble, was the fact that I was laughing. I mean, the whole thing seemed kind of ludicrous to me. I've got this little tiny camera out. It's like half the size of a wallet. And this woman is practically fleeing from me because I'm carrying this little thing that has a little grant of kind of an eerie red light coming out of it. That could be a little spooky, but she's like running out of the theater, and it's like I'm chasing her, and I'm not. So I'm laughing a little bit, and I'm kind of trying to just get her to calm down because yeah, I didn't want to scare her or anything. That was never on my mind, but so that's kind of the incident. That's kind of it's coming just a minute. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Actually, that's kind of cool. Maybe I'm not in as much trouble as maybe things aren't kind of as serious as I imagined they could be, because they brought me a Dr. Pepper. I wonder, I didn't really say I drink Dr. Pepper. I wonder how they, well, so at any rate, I think probably the whole point of this was that I laughed. I think the laughing thing was probably what kind of set this whole thing in motion. And one of the reasons I think that is that during the lineup, we were all asked to laugh. It's kind of weird seeing people that kind of look like you making this laughing sound, and none of us really thought anything was all that funny. So at any rate, I'm kind of telling this to you folks because, the people I did call last night at around 2 o'clock in the morning, some of my the friends I did call, really very responsive. And I know any one of you, the reason I'm presenting this to you folks is I know that any one of you, had I called you up at 2 o'clock in the morning and said, hey, look, Posty, how much money can you scrape together in say half an hour? I know you'd go to the mats for me, and you would do what it takes. So I guess you kind of get in some situations where you draw a line right down the middle, and you say friends on this side and fake friends on this side, and I'm sure you would have all stood up, and you would have been on this side of the line, not like most of the people I called last night, who incredibly all seem to have lined up on this side of the line. It's really nice that they brought this. I think I think perhaps they've talked this whole thing through. They've probably run this film several times, and they've seen the ludicrousness of this. I mean, I'm in a movie theater. What's the First Amendment coming to? What about artistic expression? What could be more natural than you're in and amongst movie lovers and you pull out a movie camera? You'd think that they would kind of flock to me. You'd think that they would kind of surround me and give me some good vibrations, give off a good feeling or something to get this thing going. And they'd say, yeah, let's make a movie. Right on. What a great idea. And instead, I find myself at 3 o'clock in the morning in the basement of the Shorewood Municipal Building and having to explain myself to Kathy, the liaison officer for the Shorewood Police Department, and Officer Frank Gradowski, rather large, kind of overweight, portly gentleman who's kind of a cliche for a movie cop. I don't want to tell him that, but he'd be a perfect movie cop if that should ever happen. Excuse me. Yeah, just a minute. You know, I'm feeling better and better about this. I noticed that my last Dr. Pepper was almost gone, and they immediately bring me another one. It feels like they're kind of interested in my well-being. I mean, they seem to obviously be paying attention to what's going on with me, and they're looking out for my welfare. So that's great. 2 Dr. Peppers in under an hour. That's kind of better than I get treated at home. I wonder if there's a bathroom around here. They see one when I came in, and I kind of noticed that when they leave the room, I can't really get out of the door appears to be locked. I'm sure I'll be able to get to the bathroom in a second here. Check just a minute. Okay. Well, I did get to go to the bathroom. Actually, it was kind of like I had to get down with this deal. I mean, it was kind of like, yeah, you can go to the bathroom. Just first, we'd like you to take a look at something we think is interesting, and we'd like to get your comments on it. And after you commented on it fully, I think that would be an excellent time for us to then just sort of take a little break, and then you can go to the bathroom. And, my lawyer said, look, I don't know if I would say anything at this juncture. I've reviewed this material myself, and I can see how it could look under certain circumstances problematic for the case that we're currently involved in. I mean, he's on my team, ostensibly. This is a case, Bill, this is a case we're currently involved in. It's not like me just in this thing, is it, Bill? So they run this video thing, and well, here, let me show you what they ran.
Are you filming me again?
No, I'm checking something out.
No, you're filming me.
Are you upset? Do you feel it's a...
I'm so flat.